All right, Jay, you know who it is. You know what it is. It's the Sizzle back in the building, baby. It's been too long. We've been gone. Now we got to give you something for you to be strong.
It's Happy Bears Day.
Happy Bears Day.
Happy Bears Day. That's like every 4 years we have Happy Bears Day because we actually get some hope.
Right.
Thinking that somehow or another that the McCaskies is going to figure out that they don't know what they're doing and they're going to let somebody actually come in and pick a GM and a coach and a president that might actually have a clue about the game of football. But lo and behold, that's not going to happen. So anyway, though, it's still Happy Bears Day. There's hope. You know what I'm saying? Well, until we, they pick the coach and we go, what?
Yeah, at this point, let's just talk about it. So we get it out there. I know everybody's heard it all today, and it's going to be all tomorrow and probably all through the next week that the Chicago Bears have finally cut ties with their GM and head coach.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody's got that. Matt Nagy's gone. Ryan Pace is gone.
Okay. Are you happy about that?
I was until I saw the press conference today.
I know. Why?
And then I just realized the pain, the agony, the despair, the defeat. But the biggest question of them all, Jay, is how do you feel about the team president saying that one of your fellow offensive linemen is a liar? He's a ne'er-dweller. He's a bad person. Wait, I want to get the story straight, and you can help me. Did Olin Kreutz get hit in the head with the weight, or did Olin Kreutz hit somebody in the head with the free bet?
I think Olin Kreutz got hit in the head with the weight, if I remember that fight correctly. I think he was a receiver of the iron to the dome.
Okay.
he got cadonked.
Did you know how much you have to dislike somebody to hit them with a damn free weight?
I'm gonna tell you what. Here's the whole thing about it. I don't know how these guys play, grab behind in the locker room or whatever they were doing, but that's some serious fight that was gonna carry on out into the parking lot. I'd have had to been pulling up over to your house because if you hit me in the head with a weight, it's on and cracking.
Right.
I don't know what these guys are doing, but I don't know. But ain't that the Chicago Bears way? Ain't that what the Bears do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's bearable, my friend. It's
bearable. That's beautiful. It's bearable. That explains everything. It's just, but you know what? I don't know why they did that. It's bearable. You know what? Makes sense.
So let's just break it down. All right.
Okay.
Virginia McCaskey is very, very, very disappointed.
Yeah.
Her son's an idiot, and his BFF is also an idiot. I mean, he's a smart money man, but he's an idiot because he keeps allowing himself to get pulled into this. Because if you call me like, hey, man, we need to do this press conference later on, I'd be like, no, I'm good, dog. I'm good. Just put up a sticker or something. I'm good.
And he basically said, look, I don't even want to deal with this football stuff anymore. Just look, I'm gonna take care of the stadium. I'm going to take care of that stuff out west, like I took care of Soldier Field. You can handle this side of it. I'm bowing out of this. And Virginia's son is like, oh no, I don't even. Is this an actual football team? Is this a real team? Do I have to actually go out here to the podium and actually say something? It's like, come on, man. You know what the funny part about that whole conference was, the press conference was that at the end of the conference, basically, the middle part of it, he goes, I'm really just a fan, to tell you the truth. I really don't know that much about football, but I'm going to pick the GM. And then why are you heading the football organization? Why are you doing it? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I understand now. Look, I don't fault Pace anymore. I don't fault Nagy. I don't fault what's his name? Phillips? Is it Phillips?
Ted Phillips.
Yeah. I don't fault Ted Phillips. This is the emperor with no clothes on. McCaskey's walking around. He doesn't know that he's naked, and everybody's like, "Are the paychecks still cashed? Yeah, we good to go. Let him do what he wants to do because you can't tell him nothing." He just this is a hobby for him that he not even that he even earned. He got it as a birthright, and he's really running a franchise, a storied franchise. And I really think now we're going to be the old Cleveland Browns. I really think that's where we're headed.
Well, it's funny. They have new diversity people in the building. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, how do you feel about 255-year-old Bill Polian coming in and helping you find your football czar? Now, this is the same guy who said Lamar Jackson should be a wide receiver.
Absolutely. And this guy really hasn't been involved in football activities since what, 2010 or something like that, or something around there. So why do you have this guy at the helm of your GM search? You know why? Because he's your buddy. He's the guy you sit around and you drink Oberheiser, Oberwalt Scotch 45 special brand malt liquor that nobody can get. That's like $800 a bottle. That you sit around because you guys know that it's double dip malted with extra barley in it or something, because you guys are buddies and you guys have really rich people problems. So you're bringing this guy in because you're comfortable with him, not because he's the best guy that you could bring in to lead your search. This is what the problem is with the Chicago Bears, because McCaskey wants to be friends with everybody, and he wants everybody to be friends with him. Why? Because this is not a passion for him. This is a hobby. And this is just something for him to go do. Hey, Mom, I'm heading up to a football franchise. Look at me. Take a picture of me.
I just don't. They talk about the storied franchise always of the Bears. And you would think after all this time that somebody would know something about football. Did one of the kids, out of how many kids did Virginia McCaskey have?
A few, but I think Virginia knows. Virginia just ain't got the energy.
Okay, so the mom is the last person to know. None of her sons know anything about football.
And that's the scary part about this, right? But they're not Hallis's, though. You know what I'm saying? They didn't come down that line.
They're McCaskies.
So they're McCaskies. And that's a whole different thing. It's just like, they're legacies. Sometimes there's some fraternities you don't even have to pledge. You just got to sign up to get in, because you're a legacy. You know what I'm saying? What was it? Animal House? He was a legacy. He was going to get in. What was it? Dorfman?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he was. Flounder. Greatest. That was still one of the best movies of all time.
Great. It was a great movie.
Oh, man.
Even to this day.
Still funny. Still turn it on today, and you're still going to have a good time watching Animal House. Animal House is hilarious. But I digress.
No, not really, because it's like Animal House up there at Hallis Hall. And
here's the scary part about it is that now you've got Pace, who was allowed to take the coffers and throw magical coins around the league, willy and nilly. And Nelly too. You might as well pay Nelly while he was out there, because he was giving money to everybody. Because now you got this new GM who had to come in and deal with this nonsense. I mean, you got cap hits coming across the board. Khalil Mack is bad enough, but at least we got some production out of Khalil Mack. But I think he's due for like $30 million. You know what I'm saying?
So we're going to talk about the national championship. We're going to talk about Georgia and Alabama for a minute. Yeah. And the biggest question I've heard now circulating the Twitter sphere
do it.
Could Georgia beat the Chicago Bears? And before you answer that question, Jay, before you do, you brought up a good topic.
Yeah.
How do you – because I see a lot of guys that can be let loose. I know whatever Akeem Hicks, whoever he pissed off, they put his business all in the streets.
Yeah.
So he'll be good to get a contract at McDonald's somewhere. But what do you do now with a Robert Quinn and a Khalil Mack. You just had somebody set your all-time sacks record.
And that record don't count. That record don't count.
You got Khalil Mack, as you said, making $30 million. And I think he has a cap hit of $30 million also, something in that range.
Yeah, something crazy like that.
So you can't cut it. I mean, you could trade him, but you can't cut it.
Right.
If you were smart.
You still got to pay Danny Trevathan. Have we heard his name all year?
Now, Danny Trevathan, you can cut. I think I looked up his numbers. His cap hit is under $1 million.
No, I don't think so. Let me go. Let me go back and take a look.
I'm almost sure his cap hit is palatable, but you still got to pay Roquan.
I thought I saw a funky number of like $9 million. Let me go back and look here.
Maybe that's what he would be paid if you were stupid enough to put him back on the roster.
Let me go back here. Okay, let's see here.
Okay.
All right, here we go. All right. They said to keep if they're going to let Trevathan, going to either keep Trevathan or just eat nearly $9 million in cap space just to move on from Trevathan. $9 million in cap space.
Just to cut him.
And he started one game in 2021.
I mean, he didn't start last year.
What, 2020? He wasn't great on the field. I think he started, 3/4 of those games because he was injured.
Something like that, yeah.
He's been injured the entire time. He only played one game this year, right? Now, this was during the period of time when they were trying to rally up around Trubisky. I don't blame him for this, but I do blame him that they thought they had an opportunity to go hard because of that defensive play that they had with Khalil Mack when that defense was just fabulous. However, the offense was so poor that they decided to pay these defensive players, especially a person like Danny Trevathan, because he was a veteran presence in the middle of that defense. And this was the time they thought they were going to have a chance to go long and far in the NFC. The issue was that their offense, we know what happened with Mitchell Trubisky, never panned out to be at least pedestrian. Right. Never panned out to be like that. And now we're suffering for that. So I don't blame him completely for that, but I do blame him for not looking at the future of the Bears and not making them solid enough. You don't see New England like that. I mean, you always saw New England able to move. You always saw New England able. They would cut guys nearly in their prime because of their contracts. They would move on. You know, why would they let that guy? That guy's got still 2 good years left on him because they didn't want to have these situations occurring later on where they're going to be a bad football team. Now you have the Bears who are just trying to win, but that's the non-leadership of Hallis Hall, was that you had nobody cooking the soup. You know, we got to eat next week too. No, let's just go to the store. Let's get some lobster tails. Let's get some prime rib. Let's get, you know what I'm saying? Let's go get some Chevys Regal. We go party all night. We know we got to eat next week. Man, don't worry about next week. We just do it. Let's get it done today. And that's basically what you saw happening. They were going after to, I believe, fold under the pressure of the Bears fan base. They wanted to win so bad because of what was happening to them in the media. And I think a lot of that has to do with the McCaskey family because they want to be beloved around here, just like Papa Bear Hallis. But Papa Bear Hallis knew what he was doing.
Yeah, and big shout out to my man Shivers. Yo, man, I'm just telling you, team, I'm still loving you. I still know that I'm supporting you in your efforts for the Chicago Cubs to be relevant again. May not happen, but I love you, dog, and we'll just do it.
Got there.
Yeah.
Got there. Sure,
yeah. I mean, but okay, so we looked at that's the defensive side because there are a lot of questions, but it seems like you've got another corner that you didn't realize was in the building. You're going to have to get rid of Eddie Jackson's money. Somehow, some way, you're going to have to jump up off of Eddie Jackson's money, or you're going to have to make him a slot corner.
Eddie Jackson?
Well, he's been lobbying to play the slot. So, okay. So you get some young boys on the defensive line. Defensive line might be the quickest thing you can work with. You get some young guys out there, get a good rotation of young defensive linemen. Linebackers, I mean, it is what it is.
I think you got the linebacker core is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I think
it is what it is.
Your biggest problem, again, and you just touched on it, was they let their Pro Bowler go, who was a lockdown corner on that other side, who actually was coming in and starting to be physical, starting to patrol his area over there, who got into the weight room, was drinking his shakes, whatever he was doing, put on an extra 10 pounds, and was laying some thunder to people. And for whatever reasons, you decided to pay Nick Foles $5 billion instead of signing your shutdown corner over there, locking him up and taking away half the field so that you could have those safeties being able to roam back there. What the problem is now is the safeties have too wide of an area to cover. They have to fully cover hash to hash right now, and maybe even over that. Beforehand, they really didn't have to. They could cheat over halfway over to the other hash because number 23 had it locked down on the other side. Yeah. That was the beauty. And I'm not comparing him to Deion Sanders. Don't give me no, you crazy, man. What you mean, Deion Sanders? But that when you have shutdown corners like Sherman and Sanders and people like that, they make your safeties look great because now they don't have that one side of the field that they have to look after all the time. I mean, think about it. You had Fuller playing a bell technique on one side with Dick Fangio, and then you had was it Akamura? Yeah. Was that him on the other side?
Prince Akamura.
Playing bump and run. And Prince always played bump and run, no matter who was over there. And Fuller played the bell technique because that's what they were good at. And Fangio let them play it like that. That's what that Bears defense was vaunted at one point in time. Remember, they were talking about this is the greatest defense. They were better than the 1985 Bears. When at one point in time, their stats were saying that they were. So you had a defense who was playing like that under Vic Fangio. And then you move that same defense with a lot of the same people still there. You move that defense forward 3 or 4 years later, and it's like, man, they're pedestrian. So it's just a really bad move from those people up top who don't know what they're doing when it comes to personnel, and they pay the people that they like instead of the people who can actually help them. I don't care what Akeem Hicks said or does. What does he do on the field?
Right. And that's where going back to what you were saying about Eddie Jackson, you saw the interception numbers come down for Eddie Jackson over the past 2 seasons because just as you said, when you have a Kyle Fuller on one side, you can cheat. You can make that extra play because you know he's locked up on his man. So you can make that gamble. You can go and ball hunt when you know that he's covering you and that man's not going to get any further deep.
Absolutely.
So you can do these little things. Now, not so much, but maybe so much because Fangio and Kyle Fuller are going to be available again. Oh, yeah.
So do we
bring back the old band?
Well, I mean, look, Fangio will be an upgrade from
Desai.
Yeah, it'd be a huge upgrade from that point. From that scheme wise.
Oh my.
And so if he would come back for decent money, we take him back. I would take him back in a heartbeat because Vic Fangio knows what he's doing on the defensive side of the ball. However, though, how much money does he want? Number one. Number two, what does he really have to deal with at this point? Is Khalil Mack going to be any form of what he was before? This whole outbreak of sacks that all of a sudden we get from Robert Quinn, who only had 2 last year, and all of a sudden now he's like a sack machine. Where was that when Khalil Mack needed his help? When Khalil Mack was getting doubled and beat up so bad he couldn't even play this year.
Nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found. All of a sudden now Khalil Mack's not there, and here you come. We needed you both together. And now what you got, 18 and a half sacks or something or whatever that is now?
19 and a half.
Yeah, it's like, okay. I mean, it puts him, top 60 all time or something like that. But I mean, for what? I mean, it's to me, it was junk time yards. It's like you have some quarterbacks who he threw for 300 today. Yeah, but they were down by 20 points.
Yeah.
So he had to throw for big numbers on the back end. He was just slinging it all over the yard.
It's like seeing Andy Dalton throw for 350. You're like, oh, right. That was 350.
Right.
Yeah, but they were down by 21.
Right. No, these weren't meaningful sacks. These were just sacks. No, don't get me wrong. Now, I'm not nowhere near anything that Robert Quinn is. And, I'm sure he's a great guy and all the above. And I'm, in my disparage get sack out. No, it's a great, phenomenal feat. But it was a phenomenal feat that really didn't matter because it didn't really lead to anything.
It was a great individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jit was great because he shined on the defensive line where you had 3 or 4 guys who were going to just be all-time greats in the NFL were on that line. You had Hampton, you had McMichael on that line. You had Ditt. You had so many people there who were household names. Robert Quinn did that. The only person who was really a household name was Akeem Hicks, and so I don't know. Yeah, it was a great. I just wasn't like super excited about that he got it. I mean, it was a big deal, but
with the defense being what it is, they're aging. But I've always believed you can turn around defense faster than you can offense because you can always get a cycle of players through on defense. And you don't have to have a phenomenal – you have to have a bell cow for a wide receiver, running back. You have to have a standard NFL-ready or great offensive line to keep your quarterback upright.
That's the main thing they got to get
on defense, you don't have to do all that. I mean, you can have a decent defensive line, but as long as they can penetrate, as long as they can chew up blocks, or as long as they can shed a block every once in a while on third down, disrupt some things, great. Linebackers, good. As long as your corners can stay with their man, know their assignment, know what coverage they're playing, their technique, great. Fix defense. But offense, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh, Nelly. Oh, buddy. You know what? In the next segment, we're going to talk about the Chicago Bears and offense. And we're going to still ask this question. Can Georgia, because we saw Alabama could Georgia right now beat the Chicago Bears? Because there were some big boys on that line. Now, I'm not going to give you my answer. I'm going to wait till we talk about it some more. But Georgia has some big boys out there. Number 99, number 95. I just looked up I was watching him on the screen, and I saw a woman just look up into the air at him. I said, maybe he's a Trojan horse. I don't know. I don't know what they roll out of there. I don't know. But quickly, Jay, is there any help for this defense right now as we see it? Can this defense at least be pedestrian again? Because they haven't been awful. They just weren't great.
Well, here's the problem, right? Your defense is only as good as your offense can score more than 21 points a game. Because if you put the defense in a position where they have to pin their ears back and blitz and try to get after people to try to cause turnovers, or they have to start trying to jump routes, when you gamble, that's why it's called gambling, there are times you're going to lose and you're going to get burned. So you're looking at a Bears defense that very seldom do they play with the lead, but they can sit back in that cover 3 high shell, keep everything in front of them, and burn clock. They can run the 4-corner defense out there and just pass the ball around and burn the shot clock down. Well, the same situation with the Bears is that they can't. They have to be coming full speed all the time. And when you come full speed all the time, you may hit your mark, you might run right past it. And that's what this defense, sometimes they look great for a few series. All of a sudden, these guys get gassed out, and all of a sudden you look at the Bears start getting gassed all over the field, and they look like a college team could possibly beat them. Did you want me to answer that question? You want me to wait till next segment?
No. We're going to – no. This is a payoff. No,
okay.
We don't want you to answer that right now. First of all, I think the people already know how you feel. So that's why when I ask it, you can't look at the camera. You got to look the other way. You can't. That's what you got to do. So Georgia and Alabama, and maybe, I mean, Alabama had this great like re-emergence of Justin Fields, and then he got Justin Fields, but that's a whole. We'll talk about that later in a second.
You put Georgia and Alabama together.
Georgia, Bama.
If you put a team from Georgia, Bama.
Georgia, Bama, I think they could rock with the Bears. Okay, so Akeem Hicks, he's been injured. I mean, he's been injured. Is he worth a shot at bringing back? Do you bring back an Akeem Hicks? Being the heart and soul, and if he wants, what's that, $12 million he's making this year?
But how old is Akeem Hicks now? Is he like 33?
30, yeah, between 32, 34, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to pay your defensive lineman 33, 34, $12 million a year?
Yeah, that's torn his pecs, and it's been bad. It's been bad.
You don't want to pay him $12 million a year. I mean, I love the guy. I love what he does, how he plays. He's probably would have bet not for $12 million a year. Because we've seen now he can't stay healthy, or on a bad defense, he's not willing to stay healthy.
Ooh, now that's a good one. Oh, are we breaking hot sizzle news there, my friend? You want to say that again?
On this type of team, is he willing to stay healthy? Because there are certain things people can play with on the championship team. They might not necessarily play on a team that's out of the playoffs by the middle of the season.
You're listening to The Sizzle.
I'm telling you, that was hot, baby. You know what? That was so hot. Kobe, tell them how hot it was.
Wow, bro. That's crazy. That's so love, bro.
Yeah, it was. So let me ask this then. You got your new premier D-tackle in Eddie Goldman.
Okay.
Mr.
Eddie don't feel like.
I don't want to play the COVID thing, and then he gets COVID, and then he really wasn't playing.
I ain't feeling this, bro.
So is he somebody you even try to bring back? Or do you just
you try to bring him back because he's one of the better defensive linemen in the league when he wants to play. I think all of these guys, to tell you the honest truth, I think there is this dissension among the ranks. I think Nagy lost that locker room last year.
Okay.
And these guys just will not go to battle for it. I mean, they're going to go out and play because now you saw these last couple of games, guys are flying around. Why? Because they're trying to get jobs.
Right.
I'd be flying around too. But for your core group, I mean, you got your new guys who are just happy to be in the league. Your linebacker, your Roquan Smiths and guys like that who are just going to ball out of their minds because they don't have a slowdown gene.
Right.
They just got to go 100 miles. Because that's, when you play linebacker in the league, you have to be that guy. But beyond that, it's like, defensive line, you can pace yourself. You ain't necessarily gave all the effort. I'm going to give you 1, 2 and a push. Ugh. You know what I'm saying? And I can just lean on this guy and stay blocked. Now, if I don't want to be blocked, I can unblock myself. But if I want to give that extra effort, but you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm just saying, there's some things we're going to talk about. Next segment, we're going to talk about offense. We're going to have the same kind of in-depth. We're going to look at something that's going on offensively, and we're going to try to figure out where we can help the new GM. We can bring in some good things and help him do some things he hasn't done before, and then maybe some things we haven't done before. So you know who this is. You know what it is. It's The Sizzle, and we'll be back to talk some more Chicago Bears and the offense.
You're listening to The Sizzle, the talk of the 219, the hottest sports talk in the region, on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television. Make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Iron Skillet Sports. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to Iron Skillet Sports on YouTube at Iron Skillet Sports.